Great peace, great peace, great peace, great peace. Um, I'm coming to you all with a sense of, you know, concern for, what I see in the community. Um, you know, Aside from the other briefings that I've made to lawmakers and policymakers, and you know, those who are in positions of authority. Uh, when I am faced with the concern that um, a life is in jeopardy, or um, the decision of another can affect a person who is a semester away from graduating. Um, in any way or any semblance of knowing that the possibility that um, a life is about to be affected. Hypocrisy affects us all. um I'm always wondering, like, what makes a person has poor habits, what makes a person want to have an illiteracy about themselves, uh to where they feel like not only does their life not matter, but the people around them, their lives do not matter as well. um I always wonder about the decisions that people make. Like, out to me, like, right, I look at the black community like this, right? Um, it's not ran by men at all. This is why I've always kind of had a foot inside the black community and out. A foot having been in the black community, you kind of just look at it like you're trying to better your situation and kind of escape from, why the foot is there. Um, like, I have no problem, and I have to say this again because I've said this in the last two videos, one of them. Um, Men of African descent meeting other women of African descent, going and making them bridals, or bridesmen. It's not a concern to me. I don't have this sense of false hope that I don't have this sense of false hope that uh, I'm leaving out a part of me by marrying a woman of Nigerian heritage, or marrying a woman of Benin heritage. I'm not feeling any type of way concerning that. Giving that I've had ample amount of experience and learning that what we see in the community and what we see, as far as, like, you being 18 years old, and your mother, she's getting ready to kick you out the house, and your father, he hasn't tried to find out, like, how is my son doing, or how is my daughter doing, and you're raised around all of this emotional type of energy. I feel for people who are in those type of situations. um like, because, like, you see here and there of, like, the young men who are um you'll see like little videos of the young man getting smacked up by the women in a family, right? And the police, they come and they separate everybody. But here lately, I've been seeing like those same type of videos. The cops have been arresting the women. They've been putting the woman in the back of the squad car and taking them to the county. Um, I I feel for the men who are in those situations because uh, they didn't ask to be in that situation, where a man could just come into your home and kind of exert this whole baby boy nostalgia, where you have Ving Rhames over Tyrese and, him telling, it's the guns and butter type of thing. I don't like, the hypocrisy that's in the community at all. Um, where you could have like a young man who is, you know, uh, trying to better his situation, but isn't necessarily getting the support from the community in a sense that he's neutral on all things that desire a man to do wrong. Um, it's like this, right? You see the women in the community, they celebrate poor behavior. They celebrate man going to jail. They celebrate um, man not going to college. They celebrate men standing on corners and, making nothing of themselves, or, um, driving here or driving there, doing nothing important. You know what I mean? Like, they celebrate that. Um, and they've allowed it to happen, you know, since the 80s, since we saw the crack epidemic, um, on into what we saw, the marijuana epidemic. A lot of people don't mention that. They don't never say it's a marijuana epidemic. Um, and like we've seen that, right? So, for like, the people who look at, it as an honor or a badge to sit there and say, listen to your parents. They're guiding you the right way, and somehow deep inside of your subconscious, or uh, your psychology, you feel like they're misguiding you in many ways. Um, because again, I've never met someone more entertained to the idea of being disciplined than a professional athlete. Let's face it, most people who we see each and every day, these people are not disciplined at all. So it's one thing in saying, um, Steve, he just got, you know, uh, his dental license, or you know, Shakira, she just got her beautician license, something like that. We're not we're not in any of those sites of seeing. We're not in that. We're seeing, a mother go up to the jailhouse or the state pen and, you know, saying to the daughter or saying to the son, um, I just did this against, your other half. I did that, or I got this for you. Don't worry about it. When a mother or a father gets to the point where they feel like they have to induct themselves into what their son or daughter is doing, to the point where it takes away from the whole entire energy of the white sheep in the family, this is where you need to be a huge proponent of, yeah, I am going to support Planned Parenthood um, when that time comes. This is how you have to think in those certain scenarios. because I don't think like, you know, just because you're able to conceive a child, whether you be a man or a woman, um, you're responsible enough to take care of that child, as far as emotionally, financially, spiritually, uh, in all facets. If you can't, you just can't. And you shouldn't be allowed to have children. Um, so like really think about this and really kind of like point to the fact that, you know, your next instance of survival is going to come from someone, seeing you and allowing you to be in the spirits or in the touch of who you are. You know, you can't control the emotions of everyone who you see. Um, and this is why I kind of stay put. I kind of stay out the way. Uh, when you see me, you'll see I have a dashiki on with a kufi, or you'll see um, I have a suit on with a feather hat or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, because again, you have to stand out in the fact that you have prestige. You have to represent the fact that you have a certain honorability about yourself. This is why when you get to basic training or you get to advanced training, what happens? They enroll you by the fact that you take an image, take your you take your frame shots in your camouflage. You know what I mean? You have your camouflage hat on, or you get to boot camp and they sector you off. This person's going to be Alpha. This person's going to be Charlie. This person's going to be Bravo. This person's going to be Delta. This person's going to be Foxtrot. This person's going to be Zulu. This is how they address your specialness. You see what I'm saying? This is how they do that. So, I really want like young women and young men to really see that, you know, you're not going to be your mothers, you're not going to be your fathers. Um, you're going to grow up and be someone who is like uniquely intrigued to the fact that now you're a totally different person than who you were raised as. You're going to see the knacks and the ills of how you were raised as opposed to who you are now. So, subscribe to the idea that um, all relationships aren't meant to work. You know what I mean? And this is kind of carry off from the last video that we did about the NOI and, what's happening in the communities. Because I don't really think people believe in the view that whatever is causing us to be local, that we're not somehow global. You know what I mean? Like somehow that we're different than a person who is a state over, or a couple patches of water over. You know what I mean? Like that there's no honorability in that. You have to love the fact that how God made you is on you to respect yourself. You have to respect yourself. You can't let another woman take advantage of you, and you can't let another man take advantage of you. Okay, that's just unacceptable. So I love what Africa is doing right now. Um, in so many words, uh, the kids are not going to grow up emotionally damaged. The kids aren't going to grow up materially damaged, even with them having some of the things that they don't have. Um, and like even for the ones who are becoming adults, they see the beauty in the fact that their parents didn't leave to go to America to somehow fit in, to fit in with what the world was portraying through commercialism. They didn't take that route. They stayed put. This is why a lot of them have the things that they have now. You know what I mean? They have it. So, um, women who feel like, you know, I have to take the voice of my son, or I have to take the voice of my daughter and create havoc in the situation that they aren't allowed to grow into the people who they're destined to be. This is what I have to say to them. Um, it's not a given, and it's also not a privilege for you to feel this way, and for you to even come to the fact that you were able to conceptualize of even having a child, because you wouldn't be able to have the child without the father being present. And I know a lot of women who are in this movement feeling like, well, the women can have kids on their own. Sure they can, but you also have to understand that right now you just aren't able to. So deal with reality in that concept, and don't be so ignorant to the point that you're making a point that just doesn't have a founded trial at this moment. So while women can create children on their own, in that sense that they do have a womb and the womb can incubate, um, it's just yet to be seen in this age of us living, or of us having an archival record showing that a woman can uh, inseed what you would call semen into herself and have a child. It just doesn't happen. Um, so think about that. We have a lot of life ahead of us, and we have to share that life with the community. A lot of us are out here doing mindlessly things. That's kind of like taken away from the fact that um, we have our own alliance and our own importance. Um, I hope people get it together. I hope that people see that, um, being chaotic, it just doesn't benefit anyone. So great peace, Yakoki.